508 million ticket requests from over 200 countries. Every match sold out. The greatest sporting event humanity has ever seen. That was the promise. That was what FIFA told the world when this tournament was announced, when the fixtures were drawn, when the opening ceremony filled the Azteca with 80,000 people, and the world believed it was watching the beginning of something extraordinary. And then South Korea played the Czech Republic in Guadalajara, and the cameras showed row after row of empty red seats. And Qatar played Switzerland in Santa Clara, and the stands told the same story. And Canada drew with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the gaps in the stands prompted FIFA to issue a statement so defensive in its language that it sounded almost like an apology it had not quite planned to make. Something is wrong, and the question is whether it is something that can be fixed or something that was baked into this tournament long before the first ball was kicked. Stay with us, because the story of the empty seats at the 2026 World Cup goes far deeper than people simply not showing up. It is the story of what happens when the world's greatest football tournament prices out the very fans it was built to serve. The first thing to understand is what FIFA's attendance numbers actually say and what they carefully do not say. Official figures for the opening round of matches were, on the surface, close to capacity. The Athletic conducted a detailed analysis and found that across the tournament's first 6 matches, just 1,574 seats were reported as unfilled. That is a fraction of a percent of available capacity. By FIFA's own numbers, these matches were almost full. But the television broadcasts told a different story. Qatar versus Switzerland at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara was reported at 67,966 spectators, just shy of the venue's capacity of 68,827. And what viewers could see on screen were clearly visible empty sections, not isolated gaps, visible, widespread, camera-catching emptiness in areas of the ground that should have been packed with paying supporters. FIFA explained it in a statement that generated almost as much controversy as the images themselves. Official attendance figures, the governing body said, reflect the number of tickets scanned and spectators present within the stadium footprint, rather than visual assessments of seating occupancy at any given moment during the match. Stadium footprint, not stadium seats. People who were in the building, in concourses, in food lines, in toilet queues, in hospitality lounges, were being counted in the official attendance figure, while their seats sat visibly empty on the HD broadcast being watched by hundreds of millions of people at home. A fan responded on social media with the sentiment that captured hundreds of thousands more. "Ha ha, so embarrassed you had to give a statement. No one believes you. You are ruining football." If you're watching this and you care about what this World Cup really looks like from inside the stands, subscribe now and hit the bell, because the full picture of what is happening with attendance is more complicated and more revealing than any official figure suggests. The hospitality problem sits at the heart of what cameras are showing. FIFA has priced this tournament as a premium product. Group stage hospitality packages at New York, New Jersey Stadium, the venue for the World Cup final, have been listed at over $5,000 per ticket. Some VIP packages at major venues reached $73,000. Business buyers and corporate purchasers acquired large blocks of tickets as entertainment expenses, client gifts, and tax write-offs. And then, when match day arrived, a significant portion of those clients decided the game was not worth the effort. This is not a football problem, it's a pricing model problem. It creates a specific visual consequence that no official statement can erase. The corporate hospitality areas, often located in the most visible sections of the ground, directly opposite the main broadcast cameras, fill last and empty first. They produce the most obvious gaps, and they sit there in shot for 90 minutes, broadcasting to the world that someone with a $5,000 seat found something better to do. The American hotel and lodging industry had anticipated a completely different story. An April report by the American Hotel and Lodging Association found that 80% of hotels in the 11 U.S. host cities reported below-average occupancy levels for the tournament period. 80%, not a shortfall at one or two venues, a pattern across the entire American leg of the tournament.
The Council on Foreign Relations, analyzing the situation as the opening round concluded, was direct. Travel restrictions affecting fans from multiple nations, visa denials affecting official supporter delegations, safety concerns among traveling supporters, and record-high ticket prices were all suppressing attendance, threatening both FIFA's promised economic windfall and the U.S. tourism industry's World Cup projections. FIFA had estimated the tournament would attract more than 5 million fans across the three host countries. Total economic contribution was projected to reach $40 billion in revenue and create more than 800,000 jobs. Those projections are not being met at the scale that was promised. The hotels in 11 American cities are reporting below-average occupancy. The stadiums are producing images that do not match the attendance figures announced on the scoreboard. If you are watching this and you want to understand what is really happening at this World Cup, subscribe now and hit the bell, because what the cameras are capturing tells a story that the official numbers do not. The reasons for the shortfall are not mysterious. They've been documented across every week of this tournament. Fans from multiple nations were blocked from traveling by travel restrictions and entry bans. Senegal and Ivory Coast had their entire official supporter delegations canceled. Iran's ticket allocation was revoked days before kickoff. The cheapest resale tickets for most group games cost over $1,000. Business Insider estimated fans could spend $30,000 to follow their team through the group stage, combining flights, hotels, parking, transport, and tickets. Bina Ramroop stood outside Atlanta Stadium with $485 tickets that FIFA's technology could not process. She waited for hours. She went home with a refund she did not want, while her 13-year-old grandson tried to console her on the train ride back. That story, and dozens like it across multiple host cities, is the human face of an attendance crisis that official figures cannot capture. The fan who paid and could not get in. The fan who paid and sat in the resale market watching the price rise beyond reach. The fan who never had the chance to pay at all because the country they came from was not permitted to send supporters. Every empty seat has a story, and very few of those stories reflect a lack of passion for the game. The commercial picture for FIFA itself is paradoxically not a disaster. Analysis by Sport Business found that FIFA has earned approximately $4.3 billion from television rights alone, almost 50% more than for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The governing body was targeting $9 billion in total revenue. Even with below-par hotel occupancy and visible empty seats, FIFA's financial targets are on course to be met or exceeded. This is the central and uncomfortable truth of the 2026 World Cup attendance story. The empty seats are damaging. The images are real. The gap between the 508 million requests and the visible gaps on broadcast is a contradiction that no press release resolves. But FIFA's revenue model does not depend on filling every seat with a passionate supporter. It depends on selling broadcast rights, sponsorship packages, and premium hospitality tiers, all of which are performing to plan. A sports business analyst described it with the kind of accuracy that is both correct and deeply uncomfortable for anyone who loves the game. The empty seats are ugly, the analyst said. To call them a failure for FIFA would be wrong. Their strategy is working exactly as they designed it to work. Working as designed. For FIFA. Less so for the fans who were priced out, for the supporters who were denied entry, for the grandmother who went home with a refund she did not ask for the family in Dakar who watched their team play France without a single official Senegalese supporter in the building. The question this video asks, have Americans lost interest in the World Cup, deserves an honest and nuanced answer.
American interest in football has been genuinely growing for a decade. The United States national team's results in the group stage, the atmosphere at matches involving the host nation, the new generation of American football fans discovering the game through this tournament, all of that is real and should be acknowledged. Matches involving the United States have generated significantly stronger atmospheres than matches where traveling supporters could not attend. The game is finding an audience in America, unevenly and imperfectly, but genuinely.
What has not grown to match the scale of the tournament is the infrastructure of affordable, accessible international football support that fills World Cup stadiums with color and noise and human warmth. That infrastructure requires ticket prices that working families can consider. It requires an entry process that does not deter supporters before they have packed a bag. It requires a sense that the tournament is genuinely open, not just to those who can afford corporate hospitality or resale marketplace charging 30% surcharges. The empty seats at the 2026 World Cup are not primarily an American problem. They are a FIFA problem, a pricing problem, an access problem, a structural consequence of decisions made years before the tournament opened by people who measured success in revenue per seat rather than noise per section. The football inside those stadiums has been extraordinary. That deserves to be said without qualification. The goals, the upsets, the records broken, the individual brilliance across 16 cities and 6 weeks, all of it is real and beautiful and worth watching. But the images the cameras keep capturing tell a different story alongside it. The empty hospitality sections visible on broadcast, the gaps in Guadalajara on day one of a tournament FIFA said was completely sold out, the grandmother on the train with the refund she never wanted. These images are also real, and they will be part of the story of the 2026 World Cup long after the trophies have been lifted. The world's greatest football tournament was promised to everyone. What arrived in the stadiums was something available to fewer people than that promise ever suggested.